Alright, welcome to another episode of me analyzing Gene of AI. Alright, so we're on episode 4 now, and I believe the main topic that they're trying to tackle in this episode is vulnerability. I literally had to talk to several people about this certain situation that takes place and how it makes them feel so that I can come to a conclusion as to what it was. It literally took me hours. I don't know why, but I came to the conclusion that it's vulnerability. Now, in the first half of this episode, we have Risa, who is Dr. Pseudo's assistant, and was it Miyoshi? But Miyoshi can create deep fake videos that is technically legal. They're private, and she can generate a reality that's on TV of what a customer wants. And in this case, Risa wants to, or at least she thought she wanted to immediately see herself in an intimate situation with Dr. Pseudo. And before she can even see the whole thing, she immediately wants it to be turned off and says, alright, let's do it, but I don't want to be part of it. And so she turns on another episode where Dr. Pseudo is in an intimate situation with another dude. And she still didn't want to see that. Oh yeah, and there's also a situation where she put him in a situation with another woman. And so I came to the conclusion, wait, not yet. I almost jumped there.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Let me go to the second half of this episode. So in the second half of this episode, we have the character Nozaki and Ichika. And I guess you can say Nana, who is a girl in this VR video game. Now, Nozaki goes to Dr. Pseudo to get a mod installed in this game so that he can take, I guess, photos of people from his real life and put them in the video game. Now, he's not going around taking pictures of people with a phone or anything. Implants are quite literally normalized in the society, in your eyes, and I'm assuming that's how he got the photos of this chick. And he places Ichika's face on this girl Nana in this video game and sees her naked. It's not, obviously it's not Ichika's body, but it's her face. And this is really, I was asking, why is this wrong? Because he's not selling it, none of the images. He's not showing it to anybody else. Quite literally, he's the only person that can see this version of Nana. Again, it's Ichika's face on Nana. And he can literally go on dates with this hologram. He can't physically touch her, but just like in the previous episode with Joe, Nana, who is essentially just a dating sim for VR, satisfies emotional needs for Nozaki. But with time, eventually, Ichika asks Nozaki out on a date to see a movie that she knew he was interested in, and we see it firsthand that Ichika is able to satisfy the physical needs that Nozaki was looking forward to. Not necessarily smashing, but he got to hold hands and feel the warmth of her when he's sitting next to her and having intellectual conversations. And it's just not something that a hologram will ever be able to provide. So I failed to mention this in the previous video, but I feel like a bar needs to be set when talking about topics such as this. So I believe that there are 4 characteristics that are needed in order to connect healthily with another human being. And that's physical needs, emotional needs, intellectual, and spiritual. And when it comes to AI, especially in this instance, I don't think a lot of AIs in particular even have the ability to connect on a spiritual level yet, even the ones that are said to have hearts. In this case, with Nozaki, when he started dating when he started dating Ichika, he starts connecting with her on that intellectual and spiritual level because, well, she's a human being, first of all. And even if it wasn't AI, it's my opinion that they don't have the ability to connect on a spiritual level. I believe that's something that's still untapped by science and hasn't been fully explained within a language that's comprehensible by the majority of mankind yet. Well, I guess it's more accurate to say remembered by mankind. But that's a whole other topic, but we have a bar now, so back to the video. Unless, of course, Nozaki was AI or robot, and in that sense, if he had more artificial nerves that the implant can, I guess, replicate the physical touch of the human, then Nozaki would be able to have a more artificial human experience. I think most people would agree that that's not healthy, but they definitely proposed that question when it came to the situation. Of course, towards the end of the episode, Ichika ends up finding out about Nozaki using her face in this episode because he ends up calling her Nana in the middle of a date. And of course she has a problem with it and she breaks up with him because they ended up dating. Around this time is when I started to want to ask the question, why was she, well, no, I can understand quite clearly why she was mad, but I wanted to know, I wanted to be able to put it into words. This is why I had to go ask questions to men and women as to why there would be a problem with someone using their face in a deep fake hologram and they never knew about it and they never published anything about it. And it boiled down to vulnerability. In the first half of the episode, even though Risa wanted a reality where she was more intimate with the doctor, but she didn't want to see herself in such a vulnerable position, and she sure as hell wasn't ready to see the doctor in such a vulnerable position. Whenever you become more intimate with somebody, there's also a level of vulnerability that is being shown, and she wasn't ready. It's something that you ease into with consent, of course, and there was no consent in that situation. And the same thing happened with Nozaki and Ichika. There was no consent going on whenever it came to Ichika wanting to be in such a vulnerable state, and in this case it was Nozaki seeing her naked body. Vulnerability in these two situations required consent. Nozaki thought that he was ready for such a state of vulnerability, but it was one-sided. I believe that's where that situation went wrong. Another thing that is important in this situation with Nozaki is that Nana was literally appealing to certain emotions and needs that you would typically get from another human being. It's literally quite firing off certain chemicals in your brain to make you feel certain things. After the date with Ichika, Nozaki has a conversation again with Nana, and him being comforted by Nana literally stimulated certain hormones to be shot off in his head, and he essentially was relieved of the guilt that he felt from the one-sided vulnerability that he put Ichika in. And it got me thinking that, well, it reminded me of OnlyFans. It's like, when it comes to OnlyFans, not like necessarily the selling the nudes and stuff, it's more so men paying these women like their licensed therapists be intimately one-sided. The woman is showing her body, but the man isn't. And so maybe I'm sure there's subconsciously something wrong with that. I didn't think about that until now, to be honest, so I don't really have a clear way to describe the situation, but the point is there's not an equal amount of vulnerability being exchanged. And when it comes to the emotional comfort that is being sought with these OnlyFans models in these conversations, it's messing up, it's screwing with the hormones that should be shot off normally in situations where you would find emotional comfort with someone that's right next to you. That's something that I thought of towards the end of the episode with Nozaki and the AI Nana. Yeah, those are the two. Overall, I think those are the two things that most important topics that was covered in this episode. Vulnerability and its consent, and I guess the unnatural production of hormones when it comes to the integration of AI technology and how it affects humans mentally. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all found something in this episode that I didn't talk about. Y'all stay hydrated. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? No, let me stop. That was cringe. I'm sorry. Gene of AI decided to sneak this third story into the end of episode 4, and I wasn't gonna leave it out of the video, but it was an interesting predicament, so let's talk about it. we have Kaio and Hide, and they're going through another rut. It's not even the first or second one. He's cheated on her countless times, and in order to have a more permanent solution, Hide goes to the neighborhood's best AI doctor, Sudo, and tries to get it fixed. He installs a chip on Hide's neck, which forcefully reduces his sexual urges and maybe even attraction to the opposite sex in certain situations. But in turn, well, at first, in my opinion, I thought it was that it reduced his sexual urges, and so even more than just reducing his attraction to other women, it would influence his personality enough to even Kaio wouldn't be as sexually attracted to him anymore because his sexual urges have been reduced so much. But then towards the end of the episode, we see that, or at least the show tries to portray that it was actually the jealousy that was holding the two together, the jealousy that was created whenever Hide would cheat on Kaio. So rather than trying to be a episode about red pill rage and how you can never satisfy a woman, blah blah, I think it's more so trying to highlight the complex, or how complex human emotions are, and that even if you appeal to what she might think she wants, it might not be what can keep y'all together. That, and also she might have just been not the right person for him. See, she might just be toxic and needs therapy. They both might need therapy after this, but you know, this is it for real. Y'all be safe, and I'll see you on the next analysis.